Hi, I'd like to welcome you to week 5 of the St. Aidans Institute course on discipleship. Before I talk about the content of this week, there's two things I'd like to point out about what's going on in the class. The first is we seem to be falling a little bit behind on some of our posts. It's really important that you do your best to keep up with the class. Once we hit the end of week 8, literally the following week we'll be starting our next class, which is Old Testament. And you're going to have a great instructor. You're going to really like working with her. But you don't want to be working into the Old Testament class and still be trying to wrap up stuff with the discipleship class. Depending on how the calendar falls, there are times where we have a week between courses, and there are times where one begins on the heels of another. And this right now is one of those times where the next class is going to fall on the heels of this one. So please do your absolute best to get caught up. The second thing I'd like to point out, which we saw in week 4, is this is not seminary, what we are doing. We are not trying to get into theoretical or academic debates or discussions. Everything we do, really one of the hallmarks of this institute, is application to your ministry context for everything we're discussing. Now, in some courses, it's not quite so easy. In other courses, it's very natural. This is one of those courses where we want it to be more natural, that the things we discuss are ones that have bearing in our parish settings. So when I ask you about how you feel or what you think about something or how something applies to your life, I really mean that. I'm not looking for a textbook answer. I'm really looking for you to do the integrative work of taking the content you're reading and applying it to your life, your ministry, or whatever it is you're being asked for. So I know in an academic environment, it's very much discouraged that you try to apply things to your own life. Here, we very much do want to focus on that. So be very careful about that as you address your questions. All right, so we're on week 5. We've wrapped up our first book. We're now looking at Richard Foster. Richard Foster, his book, Celebration of Discipline, is a modern spiritual classic. It's been in print for 30 years now and is really one of the default books you absolutely have to read. If you're going to be versed in disciplines, you have to read Foster. You also have to read Dallas Willard and the work that he's done. So, because their contributions are so significant. So this is really a landmark book for us to look at as we do Celebration of Discipline. Really think through as you do your reading, application. Not what he's arguing, but application. Can you really take what he's talking about and explore it in your parishes? Can you really take what he's talking about and integrate it in a discipleship class, an adult ed Bible study, a small group ministry, or any other context that you might find yourself in? Because what happens is a lot of people can get very well versed in discussing the issues of discipleship, and yet they serve churches where there's no discipleship taking place at all, and they don't see the incongruity of that. So everything we're doing, especially in this class, you want to make sure you're applying to your ministry context. And when we look at things as specific as what Richard Foster is talking about, you really want to grapple with it in the context of, can it work in your ministry? Why can it or why can it not? And what can you be doing in the ministry you're engaged in today that will help people in the process of developing their discipleship lives? So that's really our focus for this week. I look forward to seeing you in the classroom. You're doing great work. God bless you, and I'll see you soon.